Hi everybody, welcome to Let's Talk Studio, Let's Talk Relationship. My name is Yolanda Cadet. I am your host for Let's Talk Studio. How was your Thanksgiving? I hope that you had a great, fantastic, fun-filled family Thanksgiving, even the virtual ones that weren't able to join you, but they joined you virtually. And also for those that you set the table for that weren't there, they also participate. Tonight we're going to be talking about a subject that is sort of a fun subject, but at the same time is a very serious subject. And the subject is serial daters. And the reason that I want to talk about this tonight with you is because the way that COVID is going on right now, it's making a lot of the serial daters come out of the woodwork. And I want you to be aware of these people that come out the woodwork that are serial daters, and in case you are looking for a serious relationship and how they function. So let's talk about the definition of somebody who's a serial dater. A serial dater is somebody that is in love with love. They don't even have any sort of definition of what love is, but they are in love with love. And they tend to date multiple people. And when I say multiple people, like in a week, they can have 10 dates with no problem. Imagine 10 dates with no problem. And the reason that they do that is because they love the chase of the date. They love the chase so much that even when they're on a date with you, they are looking all over the place. You will see their head is going back and forth. It's almost like they're on the prowl, looking for somebody, looking for something. And because they're looking for something, they're not really paying attention to you. They're not paying attention to what it is that you're saying. They're not even caring, what you look like. But the thing is that they were on the prowl while they are on a date with you. And since they are on that prowl, you as the person that they're dating, sometimes you will feel some kind of way. You will either feel some anger or you will feel some kind of hurt because this person is not paying attention to you. What's the point of dating somebody if they're not paying attention to you? And there goes that serial dater. And how do you spot somebody who is a serial dater? Well, somebody who's a serial dater, they rush to the dating process. You know how when you first go out on a date with somebody, there's conversation, you talking about different likes and dislikes. Everything is very light, on that first date. Not with somebody who's a serial dater. Somebody who's a serial dater, they go from 0 to 60 in a matter of a flash. And because they do that, there is nothing of substance that they talk about with you. The second thing that you can tell about somebody who's a serial dater is that they want to get physical with you. They want that intimacy. They just want like boom. And you're like, whoa, I don't do those kinds of things on the first date. There's no boundaries. When we talk about dating, we always talk about establishing the boundaries right off the cuff. Establishing them. This is what's going to happen. This is what I won't do. This is what I will do. These are the things that I like. These are the things that I don't like. Somebody who's a serial dater, they have no boundaries. They just want to run through the process. Boom, let's get physical. Let's sleep together. Let's start, making plans to go on a whirlwind vacation. Something that is so wild that you're like, oh my God, what is going on with this person? Do I really want to be in this person's life? So somebody who's that physical with you on the first date, there should be a red flag going on to see, wait a minute, I don't even know anything about you but your name and your number. So if I only know your name and your number, why are we getting physical so quick? Now, mind you, some people, they are very aggressive. But that's not what we're talking about. We're not talking about aggression. We're talking about where they physical, right off the cuff. The third thing is, their dates is effortless. There's no plan. There's nothing. Oh, you want to meet at Red Lobster? Cool. We'll meet for drinks. There's no planning. There's no effort behind a date. You get ready and you're looking your best. You're wearing your nice clothes. You did your hair, your nails, everything. Your makeup is just perfect. This person is like, what's up? Very nonchalant because there's no effort. There's no need to do anything special because, again, it's the chase that they want. They are in love with the process of dating, but not actually in love with doing what it takes to maintain that relationship. Somebody who's a serial dater is not somebody that's going to maintain a relationship because the concept of maintaining a relationship just doesn't register with them. It doesn't register. Again, somebody who is a serial dater, they tend to talk about other dates they've had. Like they will sit there and tell you, oh, last week I went out with this person and we did this, we did that. And you sitting there going, but you're on a date with me. Why do I need to know that stuff that happened on your other date? But that's who they are. They're not going to divulge anything important. They're not even going to engage in a conversation that have any meaning. They're not. Because they will not talk about themselves. They're not going to talk about themselves. They are simply focusing on that energy, that rush. Now, don't think for a moment that this is only a men issue. Women do it too. There are some women out there that are serial daters. And I was reading an article the other day where somebody said that, these women, they get dressed, they go out to eat, and they are dating for the meal. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. But they do it. Just because we're talking about dating, oftentimes when we talk about dating, we assume that it's all a men problem. Sometimes it's both. It's both a man and a woman's problem, where the woman is doing exactly the same thing that the man is doing, but the only thing is, and I know fellas, you guys are going to get upset about this, but a lot more cunning because they make you believe that everything is just great. And sometimes the serial dater, they don't date the same person twice because for them, it's the rush of that first date. And when you're thinking that, okay, this person is about to go out with me again, I can build a relationship with them, I can do this, I can do that, they ghost you. You text them, they don't answer. You call them, they don't pick. And you send emails, there's nothing. Because what they've done is that their rush is over for them. The thrill is over for them. They have no desire or any need to continue the conversation with you because the date wasn't about getting to know you. It was not about getting to know you. It was all about getting to meet their fantasy, their belief, their reality of what dating is supposed to be. So if you are someone that is caught into being with somebody who's a serial dater, what do? Well, there's several things you can do. The first thing is when you are with somebody that your red flags are going, maintain your boundaries. Keep your boundaries. If the person is doing something that you don't like and that you don't want to do, don't feel pressure to do it. Because, again, boundaries is very important. When somebody who's a serial dater, they need to understand that not everybody is usable. So you maintain your boundaries, and if the person is with you and is talking about other dates, tell them, why are we talking about other people that you've dated? You're not out with them, nor do I care about these people. You are with me, so therefore you need to be engaging with me. And a serial dater is not going to tell you about themselves. They are not going to tell you their likes and their dislikes. If somebody's not telling you their likes and the dislikes, something is wrong. Something is absolutely wrong because they have no intention of getting to know you as a person. their sole purpose is, I just want to date this person. And don't get me wrong, there's some people that you see that you just want to date them. You just want to know what it's like to date this person. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about somebody who purposely will go out with 10 people in 1 week and are never satisfied. They'll talk about their online dating profile. If you're on a date with somebody, why are you talking about your online dating profile? That is something that you can talk about. Again, when you are with those serial daters, maintain your boundaries. They like to get physical real quick. You are not a sack of potato or a sack of meat that they can touch and do whatever they want. That's not you. Put those boundaries up. I don't like to be touched. Please do not touch me. I don't like to get that physical on a first date, so please don't do it. Maintain those boundaries. That is super, super important. And again, if you are with somebody and it's effortless, you know how it's like, oh, okay, yeah, and the conversation is going nowhere. How are you supposed to get to know somebody if the conversation is going nowhere? If you feel like you always have to be the one that's talking, if you feel like you always have to be the one that is engaging with that person, how are you getting to know that person? You're not. And neither is the person getting to know you. That, because remember, a date is an audition. Is an audition to see if this person even meet your standard. So if the person that you're with is not meeting the basic standard, how is it that they're going to meet the final standard? Because if I'm auditioning for something, I'm going to be putting my best foot forward. It's going to be all about who I am, what I bring to the table. How can you and I collaborate together? This is the things that I like. This is the places that I've been. I would want you to know who I am. But if we're in a date and I am looking all over the place like this, and I'm like that, that person has no interest in you. That means that they are with you and they're scouting. If they're scouting, then how are they going to get to know you? How are you making the determination that this person is the person that you would want to spend a second date with? It's not everybody that you go out on a date with that merits a second date. Sometimes you go out on a date with somebody and it's a one-time occurrence because the person barely meet your standard. When you were making the dates, you guys were on the phone, you were talking, and everything sounds so wonderful. But when you're out, you're like, you know what? This person, they're nice, but they're not for me. And you can't ghost that person. You have to be adult enough to say, you know what? It was a lovely date. I had a great time, but I don't think we're a match. Ghosting somebody is the worst thing that anybody could ever do to somebody because that person is putting a lot of effort into the date. And if they're thinking, oh, you know what? She likes me. I'm going to ask her for a second date, or he likes me. I'm going to ask on a second date. And then they call you, you don't pick up, you don't answer their texts, you don't do anything. You just put so much damage into that person. You just pour so many things into that person. Because the thing is, you don't know what they've been through before they decided that they were going to go out with you. You have no idea. So you feed their own insecurity about who they are, what they are, And I know that you're saying, well, Yolanda, I should not be responsible for somebody's insecurity. No, you should not. But you should also be adult enough to say to somebody, you know what? I like you. We went out and I thought it was going to be great, but it didn't work out. We can still be friends, but we can't be dating. That's what adults do. Adults don't ghost each other. They don't. They don't ghost each other. And for you to say, oh, I didn't know how to tell them. But when they asked you out, you were all eager and gung ho to go out with them. The same way that you were all eager and gung ho to go out with them, you should have that same vigor to say and be an adult that, you know what, I went and we had a great time, but there was no chemistry. There's nothing wrong with saying to someone, there's no chemistry between us. But there's something wrong when you decide that you're just simply going to let that person hang in the wind. And I know that we're talking about serial dating, but remember those serial daters, they tend to ghost their dates once they're satisfied with that first date. And whether you do it or you don't do it, I'm sure you've met some people that have told you about them. I'm sure that you have encountered some friends that you know that does it. The idea is you always have to be aware. And remember, if you're on a date with somebody, set the boundaries. Set the boundaries. Again, set your boundaries. If it doesn't feel right to you, nobody can tell you that it is right. Because you're the one that's sitting there engaged with that person. And if you're engaging with the person and the person's not paying attention to you, then they have no desire to get to know you. And if the person is talking about all the other dates that they've had, then they're not dating you. You're just another one of many that they've dated. I hope that you have adhered to all these little tips that I gave you today. Again, my name is Yolanda Cadet for Let's Talk Studio Relationship. Have a great evening, everybody.